This week, I received an order suspected to be fraudulent on my Shopify site. The order I received was high value, and so I wanted the order. I wanted to make the sale, and so I fulfilled it. I've been ripped off by thieves ordering on my e-commerce site before, and it totally sucks. Here's what happened when I shipped an order that was fraud. I got a $25 chargeback. The credit card company refunded the credit card owner the money. So that was withdrawn from my account. I lost 2 gold chains, value around $600. Plus, I paid to ship them. I was out the money and the chains. The credit card gateway then put a hold on my account, which meant I did not get any money from other orders that used credit cards for several months. They held on to all of my sales and didn't process them for 2 or 3 months. They also held $2,000 in reserve in case it happened again. This was on a platform called Volusion, and at that time, there was no indication of whether or not an order was fraudulent. You would just have to see the signs. So who is the biggest loser when it comes to fraud? The lonely shop owner, of course. The artist, the designer, the person who is making, shipping, selling the items are the only people who get punished in this scenario. So if a credit card number is stolen and someone complains to their credit card issuer, they will pull the money out of the vendor's account. In that case, it's me. The customer gets their money back, as it should be. They shouldn't be ripped off. The thief wins because the thief gets 2 chains, in my case. The credit card company doesn't lose, it's insured. So who loses? It's the vendor. You lose your product, you get charged a $25 or more chargeback fee. You're punished because it happened. So they take a fee for that. In the case of Volusion, they withheld my money for months. That messed up my cash flow. So one time I could tell that there was fraud being committed, and I even spoke to an investigator and gave them all the information. I said, this card number has been stolen. They're perpetrating a fraud. They live here. Here's the shipping address that they want it sent to. And they didn't care. Not at all. They were like, yeah, we're not going to do anything about that. So that was really frustrating. He said the credit card company has insurance. There's nothing else we can do about it. So it's up to you if you want to ship it. I did not ship it. I knew it was fraud. The credit card company is going to make no attempt to stop the person who is using stolen credit cards, at least at the level that I was at. So on Shopify, if a fraudulent order is suspected, you can get the chargeback. They will disable payment processing. You might get removed from Shopify payments, and you'll have the funds reversed. Now let's look at what to do if you do get a fraudulent order and why I did not take my own advice for this order. If you have any questions about how to recognize fraud, just comment below and ask. Let's look at this order that's suspected of being fraud. Okay, so when you open a new order, high risk of fraud detected. You can see $1,300 US order. I want it. Let's look at view fraud analysis. Shopify uses AI. It's machine learning. It's an algorithm. It's not a person going, hey, I've seen this guy rip other people off before. So when looking at the indicators here, we're all green. We're all good. The only thing it doesn't like is that characteristics of this order are similar to fraudulent orders observed in the past. What does that mean? The location of the IP address used to place the order is in Alexandria, Virginia, United States. The verification value is correct. The 3 digits on the back of the card match. The billing street address matches the credit card's address. The zipper postal code matches. These were green flags, people. There was 1 payment attempt. Definitely during fraud, you'll see a ton of payment events. A major indicator would be several different credit cards being used or the same credit card being used over and over again. That's usually a big red flag. Payment was made with one credit card. Shipping address is 2 kilometers from the location of the IP address. That's pretty close. It could be a business address, especially now during the busy season. And especially for a high value shipment, you're going to want a signature. That means you're going to ship it to your business. That is not that suspicious in general, but it is a red flag. Billing country matches the country from which the order was placed. So these are all green flags. This is why we have all green. This item requires a kit that I send to the customer. The customer then uses the kit and then returns the mold they make. This would be a really weird order for it to be fraud. A woman talked to me a couple of weeks before about ordering 2 of them, which is pretty unusual to order 2 of them. And then I got this order from a man. So it's not that suspicious to me because it's the holiday season. It's gift giving season. A woman probably called, got the details, and then got her husband to order it. That's what I hope. So stay tuned. We'll see if this order turns out to be fraud, but I'm gambling that it's not. So even though this says high risk of fraud, I don't actually see it as a high risk of fraud. I've only sent the kit. So what they would have to do is return the kits to me. Then I make the pieces in gold and send them to them. This takes weeks and weeks. If it was fraud, a stolen credit card, the charge would show up on the recipient's credit card and they would complain and get their money back at that point. So what I will be risking is the 2 kits in the shipping and then the things that Shopify will do to punish me, which is what we looked at before. I'm gambling. I don't think this is a fraudulent order. Every other order that I've gotten on Shopify that is suspected of fraud, I have immediately canceled and refunded. It's really not worth it. But stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Billing, street address doesn't match credit cards, registered address. Zip and postal code doesn't match. Payment was a town with 6 credit cards. A high-risk internet connection web proxy was used to place the order. When you see this, immediately refund and cancel the order. That's the only way you can save yourself from a chargeback. And this guy's obviously a criminal. They're trying to steal from you. I don't bother contacting him. I don't call him or check his email address. That's enough red flags for me. I'm going to cancel it. I'm going to refund the money to the credit card. And so then you don't get in trouble. There's no chargeback fees. The credit card doesn't take the money out of your account. So that's what you need to do. Whenever you see something like that, just immediately cancel and refund the order. Worst case scenario, it's a real customer and they are annoyed with you. And that is really what I want to avoid. I certainly don't want to make any customers angry by not taking their orders. So if you really do want to try and make sure that the customer is legitimate, what you can do is ask them to please send a photograph of the front of their driver's license to prove that they're the ones ordering the item. I did that and the person sent it and it was a legitimate customer. It was really awkward, but it's for everyone's safety to protect both of us. So it worked out fine. The other thing that can result from canceling somebody's order, in my experience, is that they get really pissed off with you because you've busted them. And then they start abusing you online with emails and phone calls. That's happened to me several times. I just totally and completely ignore them. They're just mad because they were busted. It does not matter if you get an email from the customer, phone call. I've spoken to thieves on the phone. Very sweet lady on the phone. Wouldn't believe that it was fraud. I've also had a man at a Christmas craft market sit beside me, chat me up, ask me all about what the best-selling item is and what my favorite piece is. I showed him very expensive handmade bracelet and he stole it. He used a fraudulent credit card after sitting and chatting with me. That was in the days where you used this plastic thing that took an impression of the numbers of the card. You guys remember, I know. But we didn't electronically instantly make sure the credit card was valid. So you would have to go home and go into your machine at night and then enter all the information. So it turns out he'd ripped me and a bunch of other people off at that show using a stolen credit card. Like, brutal, dude. Look at me. Oh, you're at a Christmas credit show. Anyway, other things to look for that are fraudulent if you don't have Shopify and you're using another platform. It's a high value item. They want it fast. They usually use overnight shipping. They can pressure you a lot by email. Hey, send my order. When's it going to go out? I had somebody want to come and pick it up at my location, which I did not allow. Thank God, because that's one of the freaks that freaked out on me and was really abusive. Don't let anyone put a lot of pressure on you to send out a really expensive order quickly if there are any other red flags. Don't let anyone come to your location if they're pressuring you. Tell them you can ship it to a Dropbox near them. I find when people are ordering from different countries and it's something incredibly basic, like a very simple gold chain, and they're in a big hurry for it. Why? You don't have gold chain in your country? That always confuses me. That doesn't mean it's fraud, but that's just one of the red flags to look for. Make sure that if it looks suspicious, you check on the other things. Make sure all those other things match. Billing address, shipping address, all those things. If you want more information and if you want help setting up your e-commerce site, I've created a course. It's step-by-step guided with personalized attention from me, feedback on the milestones and action steps that you achieve while you're taking the course. It has everything you need from pricing, photography, and so on. There's information on how to protect your business, set up your site and policies to prevent you from getting into trouble with fraud. The link to the Designers and Makers 90-day online boutique launch course is down below. I've also linked Shopify information about preventing fraud and how to handle fraud. I also wanted to mention how Etsy handles fraudulent orders. Because Etsy handles all of the payment transactions themselves, it's not handled by the vendor, you don't get fraudulent orders or orders suspected of fraud. You get them, but then you immediately get an email that says, don't ship this order, because Etsy's going to check the order and then they'll get back to you in 3 days. So usually what happens is they check the order and then 3 days later they say it's okay to ship it. I believe once I had an order, they said, don't ship it. This order's been canceled. And then they take it out of your orders. As long as you don't ship it until they allow you to ship it, then you're not on the hook for any problems that might occur.